Mosilo Mothepu. Now, she was a senior employee at Regiments, and she told the commission, if you'd remember, that at one point the company was struggling to get government contracts, but when she returned in May 2015, things appeared to be different. And she said this was done because of the assistance of Salim, Essa, as well as Kuben, Moodley. Now, Mosilo Mothepu also authored a book called Uncaptured, the true account of the Nenegate Trillian whistleblower, and she is the one person, of course, who even made it to the commission and spoke about some of these various issues. So let's have a conversation with her now to get a sense from her as to how she feels now that the latest installment of the report is out. Ms. Mothepu, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Let's first start with your reaction to the latest installment of the report.
Good evening, and good evening to your viewers. My reaction was my hands were trembling, and I haven't had that even when I went to Trillian at her when she initiated the report. But when I read the report, I felt vindicated, and my hands trembled and my heart had palpitations, because finally my truth came out. And not only from the journalists, but from the chair of the Zondo Commission, who is now Chief Justice. But my version was believed, and I feel vindicated. But it's been a long, painful 7 years, and it's just the beginning, because you guys, the South African public, want people in orange overalls. So it means I'm going to have to be a witness in a criminal trial. So so my journey has just begun, but I felt annihilated. I was trembling because I knew what my future meant, but I felt vindicated, and I think the strongest emotion was vindication, and the truth has finally come out.
Was part of the vindication for you also the fact that I remember former Eskom executive Matela Koko at some point suggesting that you had lied, and the commission in its report now has rejected any such suggestions. Did that also form part of you feeling vindicated?
You know, that was the part I was the most uncertain about, because the Nenegate, the fact that I knew about Nene being fired 6 weeks prior, that was unrefuted. The Transnet and the Eskom contracts and all the other state-owned companies. But the fact that Machela boldly went to the commission and told the chair that why did Ms. Mothepu lie and said that I was part of the negotiating team, when he was him and Anush Singh and Machela Koko and Mabelani, Edwin Mabelani, were the integral part of us negotiating that contract. Never ever came to fruition, but 1.6 billion rand was paid. And I had emails. You know, I have emails, I've got WhatsApps, I've got everything. So I was very, very scared to see which version would the chair believe. And the chair, as I say to the public right now, Machela Koko was a dishonest witness, and he believed my version, and he lied about the matters that we spoke about. So right now, I think for me, that has been the most enlightening and vindicating move, that my version was believed, and the chairperson, who is now the Chief Justice, called Machela Koko a dishonest witness.
Part of what is in your book is it's clear how you say you were persecuted. And I remember also listening to an interview you did where you said that when I left, I was petrified and horrified at what I witnessed. I had to do the right thing and tell the public protector what I knew. Looking back, was it worth it?
You know, for those who don't know my book, it's called Uncaptured, and please go and get it. It's on it's on Amazon, exclusive books. I say every generation faces a crisis, and this is one of my concluding chapters in my book Uncaptured. It's at exclusive books, bargain books, Take a Lot, Amazon, even audio. Is that every generation faces a crisis. And many are called, but few answer the call. Our previous crisis was liberation. The Mandelas, the Sisulus, and the Mbekis, and they were tortured and exiled and imprisoned. And then 28 years later, there was a new revolution. But the revolution now was not in the trenches fighting apartheid. It was now facing a CEO, a chairperson wearing an Armani suit, asking you to sign an unlawful contract. So I say, I will do it again. And I will say this 1 trillion times. South Africa, it has been an honor to serve you. Irrespective of the cost it has served, it has affected my financially. You know, I was unemployed for 2 years. You know that I had a legal bill of 1.3 million. I had 9 criminal charges. I still have mental issues with regards to depression and insomnia and post-traumatic stress disorder. But I will never, ever regret making that decision. And look where we are now. We have the Zondo report, and I'm saying to you, Shamila Bitoy and your team, we are passing on the baton to you. And we can only hope that you have integrity. And the Zondo Commission has given you advice, it has given you evidence, so that these people who committed treason, it was treason, can be in orange overalls. So the answer to that is, I regret nothing, and I'll do it 1 trillion times, because this nation of ours is worth every single sacrifice, every tear, every single day that I look past. I say, I contributed to that, irrespective of my cost. But South Africa needs people like that who are selfless.
And I can clearly see that a lot of it continues to linger for you. And I remember there was a time where you said that, and even in the book, you talk about how you were treated as a leper. You know, no one wanted to touch you. You were even looked at in some of the banks as if they employ you, they may not be able to get some government work, you know, and you could potentially not be the right person to hire. Has that changed at all? And have you been able to recover, even financially, a fraction of what you lost?
Yeah, that's very true. For 2 years after I went to the public protector and my lawyers, Regiments, gave my statement to the Sunday Times, I was not able to get work for 2 years. And indeed, I was treated like a leper. You know, if you remember your Bible, cities used to build fortified walls, and then they put persons non gratas and lepers outside the city gates. So I was unable to work. And every single time was, we doubt your integrity. We have government contracts. And if they hear that you're on the team, they're going to cancel the contracts. But I have to say to a man called Rob Shooter, who was the MTN CEO, he went against the tide. And when Sikonati Manchanja, who was the deputy editor of Financial Mail, wrote an article about me I took a bullet for South Africa and I'm about to file for bankruptcy. Rob Shooter, the CEO of MTN, did not do a hashtag hire Mosilo. He gave me a contract and I was there for 2 years, from 2018 to 2020. He's now in Britain and unfortunately he's not coming back. But I took COVID to write my book, Uncaptured. And the irony is, when Cyril Ramaphosa won at Nazareth in 2017, the NPA and the Hawks were no longer persecuting me. They wanted me to assist them in finding the money and the criminals. So state capture is not about just money and looting. It's about also weaponizing institutions. I have to say that I am now, irony, I am the special advisor of Minister Senzo Mkunu. He's the Minister of Water and Sanitation. Mm. He hired me in February 2021. But my position is still very political, because should he be reshuffled or should he be fired, then I'm fired. So yes, corporates, banks, government institutions still treat whistleblowers like lepers. They have this, when you look at that brochure and they say about our ethos and we value integrity, we value honesty, but they are actually lying.
All right.
They don't want to touch us because we're too controversial. And true controversial means you are a truth teller. And remember, it takes two to tango. So if there's a government contract and the public sector tenders for it, and there's corruption, it requires the private sector and the public sector to collude together. And so today I'm still treated like a leper. And my position is still very, very volatile, because should my minister be fired, I will be fired. And then I will be back on the streets struggling like Cynthia Stimpelt, like Ethel Williams, who's had to flee the country.
Right.
The president speaks of protecting us.
All right.
I have not gotten a call from anyone. We
Ms.
are
Mothepu,
all under our own private protection.
Ms. Mothepu, pardon me, I have to come in there. Thank you so much, though, for telling your story. And as you say, that it's still a bit of a long journey ahead, even with criminal prosecution, once those cases really see the light of day, it's going to be quite a journey for you. But thank you for sharing your story with us. We do appreciate it. That is Mosilo Mothepu, the author and Trillian whistleblower.